Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons. We're going to talk about Vecna, Eve of Ruin. We're talking about the third and last part of the chapter one of chapter one, which is Neverdeath Cemetary, which is the start of the adventure, and it's the player characters in Neverwinter, and they have been quested by Lord Neverember to specifically to find these missing nobles, right? Indrina and Umberto, Saracel, and Eldon, right? And at this point, they've found them all, okay? But the last elder that they find, the last noble that they find is Eldon, and they interrupt Eldon. They interrupt the Vecna cultists' ritual, and they're shunted through a crevice of the dusk, and by ending the ritual, the ritual's power pushes them and pushes Eldon, pushes all the player characters and pushes Eldon into the Shadowfell version of Neverwinter, which is Evernight, okay? So the player characters are there, and they find this vampire merchant named Sangora, and she does Sangora's sanguinaries, right? What the heck is that? And so essentially she's got a blood bar for vampires, right? And she's got 4 vampire spawns, and she talks to the player characters, and she's like, okay, she's like, where are you from? What's going on here? And so she finds, so she deals with them, they deal with her, and they say, hey, we need to get out of here, right? We don't belong in Evernight. We belong in Neverwinter. Now, Sangora has been to Neverwinter, right? And so this gets very interesting, and she is, and she says, okay, listen, I'm going to help you. I know how you can get back to Neverwinter. You need to go through a stable crevice of dusk, right? A stable crevice of dusk. Now, what is a stable crevice of dusk? A stable crevice of dusk is a portal between the Shadowfell version of Neverwinter, which is Evernight, and the Toral version of Neverwinter, which is Neverwinter, right? And so they have this, back and forth that is, they put this into place, and it's really quite interesting. And so she says, okay, listen, the place where you're going to find this crevice of dusk down here on the Shadowfell side is you can find this at Dolandar's tomb, okay? So she tells them, go to Dolandar's tomb, and you'll be able to find a path back to, be able to find a path back to back to Neverwinter. So they go to Dolandar's tomb, and when they get to Dolandar's tomb, they find someone who gives them information about the Dolandars. So the Dolandars are people who are trapped in the Shadowfell Evernight. It's a family, a very lonely family. We learned that they were extremely lonely. We learned that they've been here in the Shadowfell for a long time, and we find that that what defines them is loneliness. Okay, so at this point, the player characters find the Dolandar tomb, this family of lonely people who have been stranded in the Shadowfell in Evernight for centuries and cannot get out. Right, and they're encountered with this puzzle. All right, and this puzzle is, the puzzle is very, very interesting. And so, what is the puzzle, right? And the puzzle is Dolandar world Dolandar world to no return. Okay. And again, spoilers we're having a full discussion, right? So it's the A in Dolandar, the L in world, the O in to, the N in no, and the E in return, and it spells alone, right? And they have to push these buttons, and that does it. It unlocks the Dolendar matriarch's tomb. When they unlock the Dolendar's matriarch's tomb, they realize that the matriarch of the Dolendar family is now a lonely sorrow sworn. Very fascinating. A lonely sorrow sworn. Really, really. And so it's this creature, this very dangerous creature, which supplies a pretty cool, combat scenario, combat situation for the player characters. They fight this this lonely sorrowsworn. They defeat her, and then at that point, her coffin is a pool of purple energy, which is the stable crevice of dusk. Now at this point, get this, I was kind of like, well, what was the point of this adventure? Like, why did they have to go here, right? Is this just to extend out chapter 1? But then I realized, okay, wait, that means the player characters now know on both sides they have a portal to the Shadowfell. And that's pretty fascinating. They have a portal to the Shadowfell, and they can actually go between Evernight and Neverwinter. And that's pretty interesting, right? And that is a powerful secret they have. This secret that Sangora shared with them, and now they have this powerful secret. Can that be given? Can that be whispered to the multiverse through the power of secrets, which we already discussed? Very interesting. Here's where it gets interesting. Player characters leave the Shadowfell Evernight. They're back in Toril Neverwinter, right? And they go back to Lord Neverember, and they're fully successful, right? They could say, hey, Cult of Vecna was operating out of the Neverdeath. By the way, I said never ending earlier. It's the Neverdeath Cemetary. We caught them, we dispersed them, and here's Eldon, keyword. Here's Eldon, here's Umberto, here's Indrani, and here's Saracel, right? Maybe some of them died, but that's not really on them. That's on the cultists of Vecna, right? And guess what Lord Neverember does? I love this, man. I really love the dirt farmer gone aspect of all of this, right? And so what do I mean by that? Well, Lord Neverember gives each one of them a large house in Neverwinter, right? And sends, like, the contractors that are assigned to the royal, he sends contractors to do any renovations they need. They each now have a large refurbished home in Neverwinter and 9,000 gold, right? And the favor of Lord Neverember. Like, they could go and say, hey, can I discuss something with you, Lord Neverember? They can't ask for favors or anything, but they could ask for an audience. That's important. That's pretty cool, right? And so the treasures in here and the come up of the player characters is very significant. I was very impressed with chapter 1 of the Neverdeath Cemetery. I think it's called Return to Neverdeath Cemetery. I really like chapter 1 of Vecna, Eve of Ruin. I really think this Vecna, Eve of Ruin is very much swinging for the fences. This is big dog stuff, man. I'm absolutely loving this brand new Dungeons and Dragons canon hardback, and every single word you just heard is my humble opinion on what the coolest things in this chapter were. What is your humble opinion on Vecna, Eve of Ruin? What do you think of this D&D canon hardback? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.